Hello everyone. Today's episode is really special. And you know what? We will be talking about amazing ACCOR redemption, which has been talk of the town in last few days, or either on Twitter or X platform, or you would have seen as a WhatsApp forward. We are talking about this viral tweet. Someone has done 60,000 ACCOR points burn in one night in Mumbai Novotel Airport Hotel. And we will try to decode this, whether this is some kind of a gamification or exploitation of any loophole. Or is this something illegitimate? And the best part is, we will hear from the man himself who has done this redemption. So let's get started with another fantastic episode of Raw and Real Finance. I'm Roshang, as always, joined by my co-host Abhishek. Introducing Amar Kedia, who goes by the handle Travel Blues, who has done this redemption. We will understand from Amar his strategy on this redemption and the hacks what he have deployed to burn 61,000 ACCOR points in one day. So Amar, like us, has been a finance professional over last 20 years. Now he has turned into full-time entrepreneur with his travel business into luxury segment. Over to you, Amar.
Thanks, Roshang. Thanks, Abhishek, for hosting me for this episode of Raw and Real Finance. Very happy to be here. This is actually my first podcast opportunity. Would definitely want to share my experience of redeeming ACCOR points for this fantastic redemption. That is the way I put this. Essentially, what I did was nothing great. This is pretty much out in the open, but just put a few things together. Most of you would be aware that there are programs like Easy Diner, which already offers 50% discount on restaurant spends. ACCOR Plus program is there, which also offers 40% discount on group dining. And what I did was just walked into the restaurant, asked them to match up to these offers. Of course, I had a group size which was much beyond the capping of 10 to 15 guests that most of these programs allow, and which is why the need to negotiate. We had more guests. So when I went into the restaurant, I was upfront offered a 25 to 30% discount on the dining spend. Persistent negotiation led to a discount of almost 40% on the published price, and that is how I took it forward. Now the need was to optimize on my point value, and what I did was I chose to stay for a night and post the overall bill to the room. Now, some of you might be aware that there is a temporary pause on dining redemption without a stay right now at ACCOR. And however, what I did was to optimize my points value and not just to be able to redeem. If you aren't aware, when you redeem your ACCOR points for dining, it gives you only 95 paise value. But when you do it for a stay, which includes the same dining spend, you can redeem it for up to 1.9 rupee value, effectively doubling the value of your points. Thus, even with the additional cost of the night stay, I was better off redeeming my points here.
So guys, what we understand from Amar is that when you normally use your ACCOR points on dining or spa, you will only get a point value as 95 paisa or 1 euro cent. But when you use the same point while you are staying as a guest in the hotel, you actually get a 2 euro cent value for each ACCOR point. So that is the hack that was used by Amar to ensure to get double the value of his points from his party. So while he did his party in the normal way, but just because he had attached the booking to his Novotel Mumbai stay, he was able to get almost a 50% discount on the ACCOR points that he had to redeem. That's fantastic value, and that's a hack for you.
This is really amazing. What made you select this property and do this redemption at this place?
So to be honest, there was a birthday party that we had to celebrate, and it was a large guest list. The choice was to do this at Novotel, given that there was an opportunity to redeem points, or the other choice was to not do it at all. To be very honest, I wasn't very happy spending that large an amount for this birthday celebration, at least at this time of the year. So in a way, that is something that I want to highlight, that this actually turned out to be a win-win for both the hotel as well as for me, because it would have been a lost revenue for the hotel if we had chosen not to do this spend. And that is the reason why I keep saying that this is not gaming. This is not a spend which the hotel would have lost. This is something which actually happened and we actually spent.
This is a really good redemption.
Yeah, so the exact numbers are roughly about 66,000 points for a bill of 1.28 lakhs. So that
Fantastic.
is what the actual cash outgo was just 200 rupees.
So you got more than 2 rupee per point value, if I just do some math.
Yeah, almost 1.95.
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
Part was that these points that I spent, if I again do the back calculation, I would have earned these 66,000 points for a total spending of roughly under 5 lakh rupees on my Access Magnus Burgundy card. And all of these spends were something that I had to incur. So it's not as if these were manufactured spends or spends which were forced onto me by for or some other reason, but these were something that I had to incur as part of my normal lifestyle, and that is what led to this kind of a massive saving.
So you turned an everyday expense into a fantastic party.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
Great. So Amar, just wanted to understand, since you mentioned about Magnus Burgundy, you have so many cards which have linkages with air miles and hotels. So what is your usual credit card strategy these days?
So Magnus Burgundy is my go-to card without a doubt. Of course, the way I optimize my spend on Magnus Burgundy is I choose to do it only in certain months during the year, wherein I am able to concentrate all my potential spends in that particular month. Outside of those months, however, there are a few other cards which are kind of my backup card or the secondary cards. HDFC Diners Black is number one when it comes to the secondary cards. For the simple reason that if you spend 4 lakhs in a quarter on that card, you get 10,000 additional reward points, and that straight away adds 2.5% to the base reward rate of 3.3%. So effectively, you are earning 5.8% reward rate on a card, which again is fantastic. And as you would again know, the redemption opportunities for diners, you can redeem on Smart Buy at 1:1 ratio, or you can even transfer to certain airline and hotel partners. Of course, there the ratio could be a little different. Among the other cards, for my business spend now, I exclusively use HDFC Business Black, which again gives me a base reward rate of 3.3% and 1% additional if I spend a certain number in a month. So the recent introduction has been HSBC Premier, which has been a game changer for me. The new transfer partners like ACCOR, which again at 1:1 means 5.8% reward rate. The best part is that it allows spends on a lot of excluded categories. So for example, whether it's insurance or taxes, government spends, school, education. So all of these categories is something where you can use your HSBC Premier for a spend of up to 1 lakh rupees a month and still earn those same base reward points.
That's fantastic. So folks, what Amar has reiterated is the same thing that we have been talking in a few of our episodes, as we have covered on the Magnus Burgundy Base Black, as well as HSBC Premier, as well as the Dynasty Black. All these are Premier cards which help you rack up points, and you can collate the currencies that you are earning. So your favorite currency, let's say ACCOR in this case for Amar, you can collate the currencies via different cards and put together to create a dream vacation, or like Amar did, a dream party. So guys, as Amar stated that how he had done a fantastic redemption on ACCOR, we have 3 videos on our channel on the ACCOR and ACCOR Plus program. Do have a look at those.
As I understand, Amar, from you, these are all premium cards. Do you use any mid-premium cards or entry-level card where you see some kind of other strategy where you can get much better returns than your premium cards?
So apart from these premium cards, most of the times what I would have is a use specific card. So for example, I would be using the IndusInd Easy Diner card for all my restaurant spends. So apart from the restaurant offer, it obviously brings me 25% discount. Of course, there is a cap of 1,000 rupees per transaction, but that's still good enough. More important thing is that even for eat outs, which could be very, very small, 200 rupees of dining spend, and that is where Easy Diner card comes in very handy. So 25% discount without any limit.
So interesting, on Easy Diner, there's one more offer with HSBC Premier. You can get up to 30% off also one time you dine in. So like you can combine HSBC Premier also while using Easy Diner as an app for making the payment at restaurants.
The good part of having so many cards is that you can always choose and pay from the card that gives you the maximum discount. So when it's a higher bill amount, obviously I use HSBC Premier. That gives me almost a 1,500 rupee discount. That's the upper cap now, raised from 1,250. And then of course there is also Reserve and Magnus Burgundy, which again give you almost 1,250 rupees kind of a discount.
So Amar, this is interesting that you have been holding so many cards and using so effectively in managing your spends. But next question comes, after accumulation of these points, how do you plan to redeem, and what is your strategy on redemption, and which are your favorite partners?
So I believe in earn and burn. I have had a very bad experience of accumulating a lot of points, and then COVID happened and points were due to expire. So I had planned a dream vacation for all 4 of us on business class to the US, but didn't materialize thanks to COVID. Post that, I've been very, very strict about earn and burn. I don't want to hoard these points, and that is a strategy that I would very strongly recommend, that keep burning your points. Otherwise, these points are no value. In terms of my favorite programs, for obvious reasons, in the last 3 to 4 years, it's been ACCOR. But surprisingly, until about 2020 or 2021, Marriott and Hyatt were my favorite partners. Hyatt is perhaps a very understated program. I have had some very great redemptions on Hyatt. And just to give you an example, there is Alila Jabal Akhdar in Oman. I stayed there for 4 of us in a room burning about 15,000 points, and the room night was worth about 60,000 rupees.
Wow.
So I got a value of almost 4 rupees for a property which again I wouldn't have afforded otherwise. Similarly for Marriott. So Marriott, in fact, one of the things that I want to touch upon for some of these programs is that we often only think of the point value or the rupee value of the point. What we do not see are some of the softer benefits that come across along with them. Again, so what we do not realize for a lot of these point redemption opportunities is the fact that there are many softer benefits associated with redemption bookings. To give you an example, Marriott and Hyatt points booking, most of the times they can be cancelled without penalty up to 2 days before the actual check-in.
Yeah.
You do not get that kind of a flexibility even with revenue bookings many a times. And in that sense, that is my best strategy for points redemption. Many a times you also have airlines. So United, for example, you can cancel almost up to 4 hours prior to the actual departure without any penalty at all. So that is a great move, I would say, a great saving that one could make out of point redemption. Allows one more feature, and this is something that as a family of 4 I've used many a times. Many properties allow you to book 4 in a room when making a points redemption.
Exactly.
But the moment you do that on a revenue booking, they add all kind of surcharges. So for the same points value, we get to stay as a family of 4 in the same room. Of course, now the kids are older, so I don't have that flexibility, but this is one benefit that I would suggest to a lot of people who are in that age bracket now.
So Amar, you talked about Hyatt, but which are the partners which you usually use to transfer points to Hyatt?
So Hyatt, unfortunately, we do not have any card partners in India now. Long ago, almost a decade back, when HDFC Diners Black had launched, they had Hyatt as a transfer partner. But at that point of time, the knowledge on airline or hotel transfers was very limited. Even the points earning, in fact, point earning was fantastic.
Yeah.
And I maybe want to touch on HDFC Diners Black at some point of time. But over a period, Hyatt just as a transfer partner from all the card partners from India. So as of now, there are no partners. The only way to earn Hyatt is either through genuine stay or you buy Hyatt points. So they keep coming up with sales, and many a times you can buy them for as low as 1.2 rupee or 1.25 rupee point value.
Mm-hmm.
But then, as I mentioned, the bare minimum rupee value that you will get out of Hyatt is 1.5 rupee. So you still have a straight away 20% saving. And if you can optimize on the kind of stay that I did, you can obviously have a much better redemption value.
So folks, we still have an idea here from Amar, where even if you don't have points, like let's say we don't have Hyatt partners in India, you can still buy the points from Hyatt, and then you can transfer those points to your account and then redeem those whenever you want for a dream vacation. Even that will be at a discount. That's fantastic.
Even I had 1 points redemption of Hyatt Regency Dehradun. Back then, when I went a couple of years ago, it was around 3,500 points. And that time the revenue rate was roughly 10 or 12,000.
Wow.
I think currently also this property is in and around 8,000 to 10,000 points. And it's a beautiful property. It has infinity jacuzzi pool where you can see the entire mountain and with a very good view. As I understand, there's a breakfast is also included with Hyatt Regency, whereas on many other programs, Marriott or ACCOR, you usually don't get the breakfast complimentary with your points redemption.
You're right. So Hyatt also gives us an opportunity to book the club rooms many a times for just an incremental value of 2,000 to 3,000 points per night. And club rooms, as you would be aware, that not only gives you complimentary breakfast, but also gives you the access to the cocktail hours in the evening, so which obviously you can have light snacks and drinks during that hour. So that again is fantastic value.
So Amar, let's come back to the most valuable redemption. So can you tell us what has been your most valuable redemption till date in all these years?
So in terms of my most valuable redemption, I would actually bring in a story of a client redemption that recently happened. I had booked him at Raffles Doha, and the property was very generous to upgrade him to the suite. That suite had a fantastic view of the entire Bay Area. The rupee value of that suite was 4 times the price of the base category room, which was originally booked.
Amazing. So, Amar, we have covered now Accor, we have looked into Hyatt. Now, let's understand Marriott as well, given these three are big chain and Marriott is world renowned. Maybe you can share some of the hacks or tricks what you have used for the redemption, or what did you like good about Marriott as a program from the redemption point of view?
So, Marriott is something that I regard very highly in terms of their loyalty perks. And these loyalty perks are something which I believe are ingrained into the culture of their staff. What I've experienced is that if you are a gold member or above with Marriott, you get automatic recognition of your tier most of the times. You check into the property, you will be greeted by the check-in staff. You may more often than not get some kind of an upgrade. I have received suite upgrades as well. I have got complimentary breakfast as well, despite being a gold member. Just to clarify, a gold member is not supposed to receive complimentary breakfast as per the TNC of the program. It's only platinum and above. But more often than not, I have received complimentary breakfast from the properties. There is a certain property, in fact, I'll name that. I am very, very proud to name that property. It's Fairfield by Marriott Belagavi, a very low budget property by Marriott. However, this is a property which is the epitome of loyalty perks at Marriott. I've stayed there many a times. The beauty of this property is that I get complimentary breakfast. I get upgraded to a suite every time I go there. I get extra bed for my kids. And a few times they have even provided me complimentary dinner. And you won't believe, I usually spend just 5,000 points a night for this property for receiving all these benefits.
So four people dining twice for 5,000 rupees and staying for free. So Amar, while we talked about the ACCOR program, there is also the ACCOR Plus program, which is very famous. How do you think our audience can actually benefit from the ACCOR Plus program?
So ACCOR Plus program is again a fantastic add-on to the overall membership program by ACCOR. The way it works is that for the membership fee that you pay, you get a free night voucher. Now this free night, as we call it, Stay Plus, can be redeemed across any of the Asia Pac participating property. Middle East is not part of it, so it's only Asia Pac excluding Middle East. Apart from that, however, there are many other vouchers that you get, and then there are also standard benefits as a dining discount. One of the best part of this dining discount is that if you're dining as a couple, you get a straight 50% discount on the dining spend. You can club this, by the way, with ACCOR Hera rates. So being a travel advisor for ACCOR Hera, we often book clients wherein they get $100 of F&B credit. Now the best part is you can dine as a couple, get your dining discounted by 50% and then post that charge to the room and then redeem that $100 credit on that. Effectively, you are getting $200 of credit if you can optimize it that way. I have had instances where the property was selling that room night for 10,000 rupees a night, and on that, the client was able to optimize his dining for $200.
Wow, that's amazing.
So you get free dinner and you get a free night.
Right.
So Amar, you mentioned that you get a $100 credit under the ACCOR Hera program. But what is the ACCOR Hera program? Can you help us understand that better?
Yes. So ACCOR Hera is a very niche program for a specific category of properties within the overall ACCOR platform. So you do not get access to this platform as a retail customer. You have to go through a travel advisor like me. The benefit is that on many of these properties like Fairmont, Raffles, sometimes Swissôtel and Pullman as well, Sofitel and a few M Gallery properties. So these are the brands that typically participate in this particular program. What you will get is, again, depends on the property, but there could be perks like a third night or a fourth night free. In addition to that, complimentary breakfast, $100 of F&B credit, and also a possibility of early check-in and late checkout along with complimentary upgrade. In all, if you look at it, I have had instances where, again, I'll give you an example of Fairmont Mara Safari Club in Kenya. The selling price of a 3-night stay was approximately 3 lakh rupees. With the third night free, it was not a 33% discount, it was actually a 45% discount, and the stay was costing just about 1.6 lakh rupees.
Wow.
Why this happens is because, unlike some of the other programs which either take the average pricing and then discount that, or give you a discount on the lowest night rate, ACCOR gives you the exact third night as free. So For example, if the first 2 nights are 20,000 rupees each and the third night is 40,000 rupees, you still get a discount of 40,000.
Wow.
So
Interesting.
effectively, you could even get a 50% discount on your overall cost. So you just have to figure out which night you want to really take as a free night.
Yeah. Basically, the weekends would have been expensive, and the third night, if it is weekend, then
So
you get a much more discount.
Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday
Right.
night.
Interesting. Now, from Amar, we have heard about his story and about some of the amazing redemption he has also done for his client. And if you are really interested to learn more about Hera as a program, and if you want to book your hotels under Hera program, do reach out to Amar on his Twitter handle at Travel Blues. He is a good friend of ours, and we have heard a really good testimony from all the people who have booked it. So you definitely check out his Twitter handle and talk to him for your bookings. That's the benefit of having ACCOR Plus membership. The interesting part is we have 2 videos on our channel on ACCOR Plus where we have explained the entire program, ACCOR as a loyalty program, and the savings what you can get with ACCOR Plus. Do watch those videos. You can multiply your savings. Now, Amar, we've been hearing a lot of folks that they like to burn their points while traveling in business class or first class or staying in suite. But what kind of strategy you follow for burning your points?
So, see, strategy changes with age. As a family of 4, now I have different priorities. Maybe 10 years ago, I would have loved to redeem my points for business class flights. But today, as a family of 4, I cannot be a SQ Suites kind of a person. I would rather try and optimize my redemption so as to be able to get 4 redemption seats, as well as to be able to get 2 mid-luxury to luxury rooms for us at all locations.
So, Amar, you have spent 20 plus years in the finance world. How did you make the decision to jump into an entrepreneurial journey?
So, Abhishek, I have been a travel buff. I worked for over 20 years, as you mentioned, in investment banking firms, both domestic as well as global. That job itself entailed a lot of travel across the world. International travel was mostly business and luxury properties, a habit which easily caught on to my personal lifestyle as well. And since then, we have been holidaying a lot. What started as 2 holidays a year gradually became 4, then
Wow.
5, and then we lost count. A
Wow.
big game changer, something that I was referring to earlier, was the introduction of HDFC Diners Black Card around 2015, which was giving out unlimited 10x reward points across partners like GoIbibo, ClearTrip, etc. And those OTAs were themselves giving crazy discounts unlike today. So that fueled travel passion even further. Now, this habit or this passion about travel is something that I'm trying to monetize now. I saw this as a great opportunity. So
But-
today's generation, if you look at it, they are even more excited about breaking the monotony of work. Instagram culture has further fueled instant getaways as well as leading to aspirational holidays. I'm only trying to cater to this niche segment within the overall opportunity, doing things at my own pace in a very transparent manner.
That's interesting.
And how many countries you would have traveled till now?
I think around somewhere between 30 to 40. Honestly, I lost count a decade ago, but it should be somewhere around that.
And any holiday that you are still thinking about to do in the next couple of years?
So with kids now in an age where, so my elder one will be going into college this year, so difficult to plan now. So I don't have anything which is already planned, well played by the ears. But some of the destinations that I can just keep repeating without a plan as well, Switzerland is prominent among them. So I've already been there thrice. I could go there anytime. And of course, there can always be a short holiday to something like Singapore.
Wow.
What about Southeast Asian countries like Thailand, Vietnam, which are like now very popular amongst Indians? How you see this as a trend from ACCOR or Hera point of view?
So Vietnam, Thailand. So the good thing about Southeast Asia, especially from a redemption perspective, is that both ACCOR as well as Marriott have a very solid presence in all these geographies. From a redemption perspective purely, Singapore maybe not as much for Marriott, but most of the other geographies in Southeast Asia offer tremendous value. ACCOR, of course, has a very strong presence, so there again, and the redemption value is fixed, but you can, of course, have great stays starting from 3,000 points a night to obviously going up as much to a banyan tree or a Raffles.
Yeah, that's the interesting part of both this program. You get all the different categories of hotel, starting from Ibis to Raffles in case of Accor, or even in case of Marriott, you can go up to Ritz Carlton. So if someone is looking from that point of view, we can redeem their points across all the ranges. So, Amar, we understand from you that you do spend majorly on Access Magnus and you use DCB as a second card. And can you help us understand what kind of spends you do on DCB apart from looking at a milestone benefit, and how you put the other spends on Access Magnus? How do you fine tune the balance of having so many cards?
Right. So if you look at it, insurance is an excluded category for Magnus, or rather for the Axis portfolio overall now. DCB allows me points, even base reward points, on insurance spends up to 1.5 lakh rupees per transaction. And I actually have a lot of spend every year on insurance. Fortunately, they are spread out across the months, and hence I am able to optimize my spending on DCB through that. You can do the same thing on Infinia as well. Infinia, while regard that very highly, I have Infinia as well. But in my view, with this additional top of 10,000 points in a quarter, if you are able to meet 4 lakh rupees spend criteria, DCB scores way higher than Infinia. In terms of some of the other spends that it typically redirect on DCB or HSBC Premier, tax payments, for example, for HSBC Premier, or even on my Best Black card. So this is again a category where you get 3.3% or 3% reward rate for tax payments, government spending, even NPS of 50,000 rupees tier 1 that I make every year. So some of these are transactions that, and of course my business spends. So I am very, very clear, being a travel professional, there are a lot of spending that I have to do for my own business. I segregate that and I spend that only through Best Black. I'm sure all the audience would be aware that you shouldn't mix your business or corporate spends on your personal cards. I follow that to the T.
That's very important because at the end everything is now linked at the back end of income tax portal, so people shouldn't misuse the personal cards for the business purposes.
And it also really helps segregate the kind of spends that you have. So I also remember that even Amex, they provide you with a special card which you can just use an account card. They call it an AC card, where you can keep your business or professional expenses separate while you keep the regular expenses which are there on your own personal account separate. So that really helps create a demarcation. But it's a fantastic point that you raised, Amar, because a lot of times people intermingle and then they also get confused while they are accounting for their business expenses.
Yeah,
right. And I think one of the more important points is the fact that even the banks don't like it. So the banks do have a clause in the MITC that they send as part of the card agreement, which very clearly mentions that if you're using the card for non-personal use, they may actually suspend the card as well as the points account. And we have actually seen a lot of those instances playing out over the past few years, especially by HDFC and Axis. And these are some of the most rewarding cards. So I definitely won't want to take any risk when it comes to that.
Yeah. As you mentioned that you do your insurance spent on DCB as Magnus doesn't allow. In fact, all the cards of HDFC does provide points on insurance. That's where what we feel HDFC is more like a all-rounder card, and if you have spends across your different categories, maybe equally or in similar proportion, then HDFC becomes a very good card to have. However, as we have talked on our channel earlier, if you have high spends on travel, then you can look as Axis Atlas as a card, and overall if you have really high spends like upward of 25, 30 or more than that annually, then Axis Magnus becomes a go-to card.
So Amar, you touched a very pertinent point about NPS. So we have almost forgotten it. But yeah, since most of the credit cards have now stopped giving points on NPS, I think your strategy of using HSBC Premier card for the NPS transaction is a fantastic one, folks, because now you get almost 5.5% return on HSBC Premier via the ACCOR program. So you can simply go and pay for your 50,000 as part of your tax planning for yourself and let's say your family members, and maybe spread it across between 2-3 months and pay and get 5.5% return for just paying your NPS payments and securing your wealth.
We have touched upon Axis, we have touched upon HSBC, HDFC cards, but we missed one big brand, Amex. What is your view on Amex?
So Amex, I have Platinum Travel card now, have had Platinum Charge card, but I think my go-to card from the Amex platform would be the Platinum Travel card. The good thing about this card is that you spend 4 lakhs in a year and you can get a value of anywhere between 7 to 9% on that. Again, no exclusions as far as the overall milestone benefit is concerned.
Yeah.
There are exclusions when it comes to the base reward points, but the base reward point, any which ways, is not very high. The real benefit of this card is the milestone benefit. So what you get is the first milestone benefit of 1.9 lakh rupees you spend and you get 15,000 points. And then the second milestone of 4 lakh spending, and then you get additional points, as well as a Taj voucher of 10,000 rupees. So I think this is a very good benefit. You spend on tax, you spend on insurance, you spend on any of the excluded categories here as well, and you still get these milestone benefits. The problem, however, that I see is that this card goes into the drawer after the 4 lakh rupees spending. So that is the limitation of this card. But otherwise, if you add on to the fact that the points that you earn on your Amex spend, you can transfer them to Marriott, you can even transfer them to Virgin Atlantic, and that is where you can further maximize the value that you are getting out of these points.
Interestingly, we have made an entire video how you can transfer your points from Amex to Marriott and do your redemption. And we have actually done one shot on Virgin Atlantic where you can book your ticket to London for free. Just you have to pay some 9,000 rupees taxes in premium economy.
Folks, that was a very enlightening session with Amar, and thanks to Amar for coming online and sharing his thoughts on strategies around credit cards, hotels and air miles. He has been a veteran in this game, and therefore it was a very, very educative session for us as well. We hope that you liked the episode. Do share and subscribe to our channel. We are on our pathway to 10,000 subscribers, and then we'll do a planning to South America. So we have just recently crossed 3,000 subscribers. So we are looking for your support. And once again, thank you, Amar, for spending your time with us and sharing your knowledge with us. It was fantastic having you. Not to forget that now we are live on x.com, which is Twitter, as well as follow Amar. His handle is Travel Blues. Follow both the handles for more insights on hotel loyalty and airline program. Till then, keep swiping, keep saving.